Travel with me. Fellow humans, Mina here. Welcome back to another Drive-In Talk. We are back talking about the Shifter series. If you hear a cat meowing in the background, it's very apt for this video because the shifters are basically cat shifters, which is really cool, and it's my cat Zorn meowing in the background. I just recently returned from a trip from Mongolia, so she's all over me, and we are here for that. But yeah, the book we are talking about today is book 3 in the Shifter series. It is called Pride by Rachel Vincent. My favorite author, by the way. Pretty much everything she writes is literary gold. Before we get into it, let's give a quick blurb synopsis in first person point of view, which, as I mentioned before, not a huge fan of, but it is what it is. So yeah, I'm on trial for my life, falsely accused of infecting my human ex-boyfriend and killing him to cover up the crime. Infecting a human is one of 3 capital offenses recognized by the Pride, along with murder and disclosure of our existence to a human. I'm 2 for 3, a goner. Now we've discovered a rogue stray terrorizing the mountainside, hunting a wild teenage tappy cat. It's up to us to find and stop him before humans discover us. With my lover Mark's help, I think I can protect the vulnerable girl from both the ambitious rogue and the scheming of territorial council, if I survive my own trial. Now, this is going to be a rant and rave video, so we love those. And some spoilers ahead. So if you want to read this series, come back after you've done that. So yeah, on to my thoughts. I really enjoyed my second reread of this book, especially since I read this series so long ago. I forgot most of it, and it's like reading it fresh again. As with the other books, there were some issues. Can you say toxic masculinity in the book? But just because there's things that irk me or just made me question things, none of it took away from my enjoyment of this book, hence the high rating. I gave it a 5, by the way. This series has some flaws, for sure, like some racist undertones and all the toxic masculinity, but I'm still having a blast reading it, which is odd for this third book since there is a lot of cat politics, which I'm not a fan of, and the fact that most of this book takes place inside a cabin is, interesting. Faith is yet again essentially locked up in another book. Well, she wasn't as much in the second book, but she spent most of her time locked up in book 1 and always had someone watching her in any book. So here are a few mini rants-ish regarding the book. 1. I'm not too fond of politics, and this book has a lot of politics, albeit with cats. At least Vincent can make it more interesting because it has to do with cats rather than human politics. Point 2. I don't think it was wise to be calling the stray Hannibal so close to Casey. Sure, she may not have been listening, being in shock and all, but still. They even made it a point to make sure she wasn't listening during their conversation, but in regards to other topics, so they had to have known she could have picked up on the man-eater's name and that it would hurt her even more to know what they think of people like her, even if she did it out of instinct and survival rather than on purpose. Just felt a little insensitive to me. Number 3. I wondered this with the first 3 books, but more so now. Do these people not have jobs? I mean, like, some seem to, but they take a lot of time away from work and yet they aren't fired for it. I know where business comes first, but if they want to keep the human facade going, sometimes I wonder if the humans would question why they take so much time off work all the time. I mean, they would jump to the conclusion that they were werecats, but they'd have to know something is up, and if the werecats are hell-bent on not having humans figure out their existence, they're not really helping themselves. I could just be thinking way too much on this. Point 4. What do they plan on doing with the cabins they rented? I know they're good at cleaning up, but they really wrecked the whole place and surrounding areas. I know the novel didn't take place over a long period of time, but what if they have to stay longer to clean up a mess? I'm sure there were other people who booked the cabins. This is my nitpick point for me, however. And lastly, this point isn't a negative remark. I just want to say how awesome it was. We get to see a Bruin in this book, which is a bear shifter. If memory serves, we'll see Thunderbirds, bird shifters, at some point in the subsequent novels, though I can't recall if we'll see Keller again, the Bruin. Well, okay, I lied. There's is a slight negative to this point, though that has nothing to do with Vincent's writing. I would love to know more about Bruins and see them more in action, especially a female Bruin. Are there as rare as tabbies? That's a question I hope to see answered, as I can't recall if it gets brought up in later volumes. Now, if you haven't read the book, those random points probably make no sense to you in this review, but my channel, I can review how I want. That said, I'd still recommend this series to urban fantasy fans and shifters fans. I think the world building keeps getting better with each book, and I love Faith and her sass. Though she could learn to tone it down when her life depends on it, which it often does. I mean, I get needing to say what she has to say, but sometimes it gets her in more trouble than it's worth. So yeah, how about you guys, my fellow humans? If I know most people who read about like shifters, there's usually like wolf version, but how about cats? How many cat shifters have you heard about? And they don't just turn into like tiny house cats, they turn into like giant black leopard looking things, which would be really cool. I would deal with the pain of shifting if I could turn into a big giant cat. I think that's pretty cool. So let me know your thoughts if you would read this series, if you would skip it or what, or have you read it? Have you read the entire thing, or did you just read one and be like, oh, I'm done? Or did you read it and be like, I need more? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Anywho, that's all I gotta say for now. If you want to keep hearing more about stuff, be sure to follow me on all your favorite socials, including my travel channel, Drive with Mina. Links below. Stay safe and take care. Bye!